In this episode of INN CEO Talks, I am joined by Green River Gold CEO and Director Perry Little to talk about nickel, magnesium, talc, and gold. Perry, welcome.
Hi, nice to see you again.
You know, I find it fascinating, your location. We're talking about a very historic site in BC, an area that at one time was the second largest Chinatown in all of North America, Barkerville. What was it that brought you back to this site? And now, what is it that you are uncovering?
Well, I'll give you a little bit of the history on a fast forward basis here. When I retired as a stockbroker in 2016, I knew the area very well from some investments that we had made on behalf of our clients. So I knew Barkerville Gold Mines and a company called Osisko Mining, who are our neighbors on either side of us now. And I was always fascinated by the gold. And I had an idea that we could make money doing placer mining. So we went out there with some private money and started poking around doing some placer mining in 2016. That's what drew us out there. Once we got there, we realized that there was still a huge amount of hard rock potential. We started looking around for hard rock properties. That's when I decided to start up Green River Gold and focus on that part of things. The placer got us involved in the business community out there. We ended up realizing there was more money servicing the placer miners than actually doing the placer mining. And so we have a large shop right in the town of Quesnel, which is about 85 kilometers away from that historic town of Barkerville. And 85 kilometers is just about straight uphill, as a matter of fact. But Quesnel's a nice little town, about 20,000 people. We have a large shop there that we share between our private company and Green River Gold. So we have local employees, local geological talent. It gives us a real leg up in terms of exploring. Like I said, we went out there to get involved in placer. Managed to find, after a couple of years, a very compelling hard rock property that borders with Osisko's Cariboo Gold project, which is the old Barkerville Gold Mines. 1 month after we staked our property, Osisko came in with their large pocketbook and bought Barkerville Gold Mines for $335 million. So it kind of shone a light on the area, and probably for the first time since the days you're talking about, since the 1870s, the missing ingredient came to the Caribou, and that was capital. And so Osisko sort of shone a spotlight on the area. Our gold project is what originally got us going, and we're very excited about that. We'll be doing a bunch of work on the gold this year: geological mapping, soil sampling, stream sampling, some backpack drilling. We think we've got a very compelling gold story. We're right on the maiden trend that goes between Osisko, flows down through our property. There's a main fault that flows down through our property through Caribou Gold, which is one of Eric Sprott's investments. Spanish Mountain Gold is on the same trend. So the gold part is very compelling. I want to shift the focus a little bit to what we're currently focusing on. And sorry if I ramble on here and you want to jump in, just feel free to jump in at any point. We found something else on the property when we were staking it. We realized that there was an old talc deposit on the property, and also some nickel showings. So we decided to extend the area that we staked a little bit to the north and west. And there's about 20 square kilometers of our 93 square kilometer property that is really more prone to nickel probably than gold. Although you never know what you're going to find up there. It's complex geology. Last summer, we picked up the last couple of claims that had some talc potential on them. And then we started drilling the talc just with a backpack drill. And I think the last time I spoke to you, we had some XRF results that had just come in on the talc. And we realized that our talc actually includes a bunch of nickel, which is not totally unique in the world, but it's fairly rare. Talc itself is a valuable commodity, and the talc portion of the property was explored and studied extensively in the 1980s with the idea of doing a standalone talc mine. Huge amount of talc there. It runs over about a 1.4 kilometer stretch, fairly long and skinny ore body. We don't know how deep it is yet. We're just testing that now. But it's very significant amount of talc, and you can tell talc is the softest mineral. It's extremely soft, So it ranges anywhere from 15% to about 95% talc. I think they used 45% in their calculations back in the 80s. But it's unusual for talc to contain a bunch of other minerals. And what happened is last summer we shot a UAV mag survey on the property to try to identify where there might be some nickel highlights, and we found a bunch of areas that look like they could be prone to nickel. And we'll be exploring those this year. But the weird thing was that we found a magnetic anomaly coming out of where the talc was, which seemed odd to us because talc is basically like soapstone. It's the softest mineral. It's a significant mineral in its own. But a $3 billion annual market around the world. It's used primarily in ceramics, plastics, paper, rubber. Geez, I'm forgetting a few. Anyway, it's industrial solvents, paint. It being the softest mineral, it's also the source of talcum powder. But being the softest mineral, it has a lot of uses. Most of the talc deposits around the world don't have a bunch of nickel in them. So when we decided to test this magnetic anomaly, we went out with a backpack drill that'll normally only go down 15 or 20 feet. We got down 60 feet because the talc is so soft. And we drilled 9 holes, and we hit, I think the last time I spoke to you, we had the XRF results, and the best hole was around 0.16% nickel. Some of them were 0.1. We got the assay results back subsequently, and it turns out the XRF greatly underestimated the amount of nickel. We were actually up around 0.18, 0.19% nickel, which is pretty good for a near-surface nickel deposit, even without talc. So we think we've got something pretty interesting here. We're not totally unique. There are similar things in Finland where they're mining the talc and straining the nickel out of the tailings. If you look at talc with its various uses, milled talc goes for about $270 US per ton on its own. If you add to that the value of any contained nickel, and we also have quite a bit of chromium in there, and more recently we've noticed titanium. So I mean, it's a hodgepodge of metals that are in this thing. So the assay results were quite a bit better than what I spoke to you about the last time around. The XRF guns are more qualitative than quantitative. They tell you what's in it. They could be quite a ways off in terms of the percentages. So in this case, they understated the percentages. We've recently started drilling. We picked up, because of our proximity, we have the shop from our private company. We do manufacturing of mining equipment and repairs, and we have a retail thing that caters to the placer miners and you name it. But because we have that shop only 50 kilometers down the highway from where our project is, we decided to purchase our own drill. We picked up what's called a Winky Drill, which is capable of going down about 400 feet. It's also quite portable. And we've started drilling some deeper holes in this talc body since we last spoke. And the first one we got down to about 180 feet, ran into some technical issues and discontinued it, moved it over to the second location. We got down about 80 feet in that one, and then spring breakup hit, and we can't really get in there yet. I think next week we'll be able to start drilling again and go down a little deeper. But the new holes that we hit, the XRF gun is telling us we've got the same stuff, and we were down 180 feet, and we were still in talc in the deepest hole. The second hole, we were down 80 feet when we basically had to exit, or we wouldn't be able to get the snowmobiles back down the hill.
So for investors at the moment, they'll be saying, all right, you're still at that stage where you're proving out your resource. What's your intended next steps and leading to what? Are you looking to vend in with a major, or do you anticipate, because you have already facilities in the area, that you'll continue to develop the property?
At this point, we're still fattening it up. We haven't talked to anybody about partnering on anything, although that's always potential, and our door's always open if somebody wants to come in and talk. We're certainly not knocking at doors looking for a partner at this point. In the very short term, we're going to continue drilling with this Winky Drill. We've got a UAV mag survey. It's already been shot. For the missing piece, there was a portion of the property that we didn't shoot because we had it optioned out to somebody briefly. We shot that just recently. We'll get those results. Preliminary look looks pretty good. We should have those out within the next week, and that'll tell us where we want to drill deeper holes. We do want to try to get down 400 feet in this. If we've got 400 feet of talc running over a 1.4 kilometer stretch, then this is going to be a pretty hefty talc deposit. And if it's all mineralized, then there's a pile of nickel. I mean, it's all speculative at this point, but we did step out just the other day, and that's the other thing we'll be doing in the very near future is using a backpack drill, which is a portable drill. And we'll be basically zipping around the area to any available outcroppings and testing to see if it is indeed mineralized talc. And we just released the other day that we hit another one about 600 meters southeast of where we're drilling. And we only drilled down a few feet with it so far, but it definitely is the same type of thing. It's mineralized talc. And we'll be hop, skipping, and jumping around any outcroppings and trying to sort of prove the aerial extent of this thing as well as the depth. Sorry.
Yeah. For investors, a lot of information right at the moment. What's the most important thing that you want them to take out of this interview when they, click off and say, that's a great company?
Multiple mineral threat, I guess, is what it is, and proximity to infrastructure. We're very close to all infrastructure. It's very cheap for us to explore and add value, and the potential economics of a talc body that contains a bunch of other minerals is significant. If you look at near surface the potential nickel deposits. I'll look at one like FBX nickel, which I really like, by the way. And their nickel grades are not a lot higher than what we've shown, actually very similar. Different type of nickel, also very close to surface. But like most nickel mines, they're going to generate a lot of waste rock. I really do like that project. I don't mean to compare us to them, except to the extent that we have talc. So our waste rock, if 45% of our waste rock was a marketable commodity, the economics become very compelling, and that's what excites us in the short term.
Yeah. So this is a great time to be looking at Green River Gold, or maybe it'll be Green River Gold and talc if you change the name, because you've got multi-resources within the holdings of the company. Thank you very much for your time today. It's a very exciting time for you.
It is, and we'll have a lot more to report in the very near future. So talk
Wonderful.
to you soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much.